All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, September 16th, 2019. It's a short day in baseball today, plus we got Monday Night Football. We'll go over the games for today, but as per usual, let's start off with a little bit of review. Because we didn't do a decode yesterday, hard for me to do the typical detailed review of the baseball games, but the shocker of the weekend to me was that the Phillies didn't win a game against the Red Sox. Boston and Red Sox both 77. Yesterday's pitcher could have become 7-7 with a win. So not good for the Phillies there. They still got the right numbers to be in that wild card game, but something's going to have to change. The Phillies just cannot put it together. They'll win a couple and then they'll lose a couple. So out of the surface level pitcher riddles, only a couple of those, the surface level riddles were right. The Rockies pitcher got it done, and also the Brewers pitcher versus the Cardinals. So, but the biggest surprise for me was that the Phillies did not win a game against the Red Sox. So, that said, let's go back over the NFL football games. What's this news? Big Ben out for the season. So, very interesting. We had some big injuries in the NFL, and I saw that Drew Brees is likely to miss about 6 weeks, so almost half the season. So, very interesting. Okay. Let's go over these games real quick, what happened yesterday. Pull up the notes here as we go over it. All right. Okay. So the 49ers at Bengals, we saw that this was two teams meeting who'd played in two Super Bowls in the past, which the 49ers won both, Super Bowls 19 and 23. Really should have thought more about Super Bowl 19 because it is 2019. And notice the 49ers won that Super Bowl. This is all in the notes. 38-16, so 54 points, right? 54. This will be the year of Super Bowl 54. On September 11th, 4 days before this game was played, you had the death of the former Bengal at age 38. And 49ers went on to win this game by a score of 41-17. Super Bowl equals 41. And I talked about on Saturday how if I was going to drop a fourth scenario for a potential Super Bowl this year, maybe Patriots and 49ers. I said, we'll have to watch what happens in this 49ers game to see if we get a Super Bowl tribute, and we did. And I'm just thinking, I talked about this last offseason too. What would be one of the ultimate mockery Super Bowls they could put together? And, Tom Brady is from the Bay Area. Now Garoppolo's on the team. And, last year there was a little bit of trash talking from Garoppolo that the media highlighted. I have to go back and look at those stories. He went out to dinner with a porn star. Remember, porn equaled 63, and the name of the porn star equaled 63. And I pointed out then, Tom Brady's on his way to becoming 6-3 in Super Bowls this year. So maybe there really could be a scenario with the 49ers and the Patriots. 49ers have looked very impressive their first two games. They have a good defense. Garoppolo's no slouch. I think Jimmy G's going to get it done next week against the Steelers, especially now that Big Ben's hurt. It was already looking good. But like I said, if Jimmy G won his next three games, now if he wins his next two, he will get to 12-2, that big San Francisco number. And remember, Super Bowl 54 is the 50th of the modern era. San Francisco is 50 like Brady. So this is something to consider. This is a possibility. Dalton had a chance at that 38th regular season win and 38th home regular season win and 68th overall, but didn't get it. Instead, it was, I guess, deja vu of Super Bowl 19. Lions, I said they look like an upset this weekend. Very possible upset. The big stat was that Rivers could get his 91st regular season loss. Detroit's 91. That's what ended up happening. And again, regular season, And regular season records tend to trump all-time records. So, late game upset there. A lot of late game upsets. Of course, that's becoming more and more typical in the NFL. Final score was 13-10. LA 13. 91, the 13th triangular number. 23 combined points. Detroit, Michigan 83, the 23rd prime. Hold on, I hear a call in the background. 1 second. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, what's up, man?
Just wanted to let you know yesterday, I remember a gentleman calling in yesterday with something specific about Jimmy G's throwing attempts.
Oh, somebody called in yesterday about his attempts?
Yeah, something significant about his next throwing attempt. I forgot.
That was for Case Keenum. That was a Case Keenum stat.
Oh, that was a Case Keenum stat.
Yeah, that was Case Keenum.
Oh, okay. Because Jimmy G wound up throwing a touchdown on his second attempt. But anyway, Sean Payton signed a new contract yesterday. Just wanted to let you know that.
Sean Payton on the day Drew Brees got hurt?
Yeah, contract extension.
Okay, I'll look into that too. Good tip.
All right, Zach, I'm going.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay. So, Lions with the upset there. It was on the board. Vikings at Packers. Again, to me, this game was all about Bart Starr. I didn't see how the Packers could lose in this one. Bart Starr was number 15. Rodgers' 15th season. The first home opener for the Packers this year on the 15th. And perfectly sync with the death of Bart Starr. So Packers came out hot, and then it got to be a close game. They were up 21-0, and they won 21-16, 37 combined points. Vikings is 37, Packers is 37. And talk about how the Week 16 game is on a 54-date numerology. The Vikings will have a shot at their 54th win versus the Packers in Week 16, so that's very possible. Part of the reason I thought the Vikings might hold off as well. Plus, I liked it if Rodgers won this week, he could get his 103rd win next week over the Broncos. So I think that's coming. And these teams will play again in Week 16, and the Vikings lost with 16 points. That's another thing to think about. Colts and Titans. I should have just stopped my decode right up here at the top with the head-to-head record because I saw that the Week 13 game, their rematch, is on a date with 16 numerology, and the Colts' next loss to the Titans will be their 16th. So Titans might get revenge in Indianapolis later this year. They probably will, in fact. So I did see that, but I wanted to find more, and I ended up going with this one. I saw that if Brissett lost this week and next week, he could get his 15th loss in Atlanta, and Atlanta's 15th, so I started thinking, maybe that's actually what's going to happen. Because the trick about the date numerology is a lot of times the team will pick up the win and loss on the specific date, like picking up the 16th in the next game on the 16 date numerology, but sometimes they do pick it up early, and then they go in there with that number, and they stay on it. So anyway, that's where the clue was for that game. And let's see. Patriots and Dolphins, again, it looked good for Tom Brady to get his 209th regular season win. I saw 209 come up in 3 instances. Reed got his 209th win with Kansas, not with Kansas City, but just as a coach, his 209th win. And there was a quarterback, I just saw the stat on the bottom of the screen. I think it might have been Aaron Rodgers. Some QB had 209 passing yards this week. And I was just like, because I talked about the 209 with the death of Eddie Money and how I thought it was interesting because his name syncs up with this season. So anyway, 209 showed up in 3 games. Caller?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
What's up, man?
Hey, I found a pretty good source for statistics.
Okay.
And I sent you a text, and it's like through the NFL that they put it out. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it had those merger stats in it.
Merger stats in it, okay.
Yeah, like Cincinnati was on 408 losses since the merger going into San Francisco.
And so they got 409 versus the 49ers.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that is they're playing the Bills next, and the Bills are at 408 right now. So I wonder if that 409 doesn't transfer to the Bills. That 409 losses since the merger.
The 49ers and Bills play next?
It's not the 49ers. It's the Bengals who got their 409th.
Oh, I see. Huh. Interesting.
But I want to mention Garoppolo. I had a little something on him. But he can get his 12th. He's coming up on his 12th start, and if they win, it'd be their 12th head-to-head win. I can't remember who they're playing next.
Steelers. They play the Steelers next.
Okay, but if they lose, it'll be 11-11 all-time in their 22nd matchup. So, 11 men on field, 11v11.
Right.
And it's funny, the organic matrix. Last month you watched, what was that movie? You watched Aquaman, the day of the Aquarius full moon.
Right.
Well, last night I watched, or not last night, but on the night of the harvest moon, I watched Aladdin.
Huh.
And Garoppolo, that's his nickname, is Prince Aladdin.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. Huh. And they actually mentioned the harvest in the movie, and there's a full moon and everything. It's kind of wild that it happened that way.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, life's interesting, man.
Yeah. All right, man. That's all I got.
All right. Appreciate it. Take care. Okay. So, Patriots, they smoked the Dolphins 43-0. Remember, we had 43 date numerology. Dolphins equals 43. Florida 43. Football 43. Masonic 43. Talked about how if the Patriots won both this year, they could stay on 54 regular season losses. So Brady did get his 209th regular season win. Miami Dolphins 209. And let's see. We talked about how Brady can become 5-0 this year. He has an easy schedule, and if he does, he'd become 5-0 versus Washington. Washington's also 50. So Antonio Brown had a big game. It was sick ritual, and it's just the NFL loves to mock everybody with the Patriots. So caller.
Yeah, Zach. I just want to mention one thing. Today's 106 days remaining at the end of the year. So
right.
In baseball, you probably look at some prophecies.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, so. And I just got on here. Did you mention, I don't know if you mentioned this, Jimmy G can start out 3-0?
Yeah, I like Jimmy G to win a lot next week. I talked about why I like him to beat the Steelers, and if he wins 2 more in a row, he'll be 12-2 as a starter, and San Francisco's 122. So
yeah.
I was talking about how the 49ers won Super Bowl 19 over the Bengals, and they won this game with 41 points, Super Bowl number. So might have to think about a 49ers Patriots Super Bowl for some more mockery. It's not out of the question. So
true. Hey, did you remember last week when I said the Saints gonna win Monday Night Football and they're gonna lose to Rams? Do you remember that?
You liked Breeze getting his 109th loss because Los Angeles is 109. I do remember that.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. And with us doing that too, Zach, they have the spreads up for the following week too on our websites now. So people could two-pick parlay that. Like say for instance, you could parlay Jimmy G winning 2 in a row too. So like people could do that for like $5 and have grocery money. So just mention that.
Sure.
Because I like him to start out 12-2. That I don't know how they gonna pass that up. That's just me.
Yeah. The 49ers are looking like they're going places right now. So.
Yeah, in Green Bay yesterday, Brett Favre walked out. Brett Favre walked out Bart Starr's wife.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we knew it was gonna be all about Bart Starr.
Yeah, you could look it up too. It's art. You can see it. Like, and they got this 15 circle. I think they put it up. They hung it up or something. So you can look that up. Yeah, because Brett Favre walked his wife out.
Very interesting. Okay, appreciate that.
Yep. All right, man. You have a good day.
All right, take care. Yeah, you too. All right, Favre. I just got to see how many days it was. All right, hold on. Let's think about it. So, September 15th. Favre's birthday is October 10th. 25 days. Gotta think more about that. All right, so the Bills at Giants. God, I hate Peyton Manning. Or not. I don't like Peyton either, but Eli Manning. I don't know how Manning didn't win this week, honestly. I mean, how's he not going to get his 117th regular season win over the Buffalo Bills? Maybe they're going to bench him too. But the one thing that was there for Allen is he had a chance to become 2-5 or 3-4 away. That 25 does hit more with the Giants, but he became 3-4, so it wasn't out of the question. And Shermer did get his 36th regular season loss on the 36 date numerology over Buffalo, but that is not typically how it is. Quarterbacks almost always trump coaches, so I don't know. Maybe they're not going to let Eli get that 117th win. Maybe he won't be starting next week. Week 2. Interesting week. Some big injuries. See if they bring Eli back. And we knew 28 was going to be a big number on the day. Several games with 28. Bills won 28-14, 42 points. And they also improved to 4-2 versus the Giants. So Bills open up the season by beating the Jets and the Giants, who play in the same stadium. Seahawks at Steelers, more lined up for the Seahawks than the Steelers. 28 was the big number. Big Ben could pick up his 28th regular season home loss, and he did, losing by 28, Seattle 28. Talk about how this game was on Pete Carroll's birthday. The last time the Seahawks and Steelers played, it was Russell Wilson's birthday, and the Seahawks won. So Pete Carroll turned 68 years old. Seattle, Washington, 68. The overall head-to-head record favored the Seahawks. The at-home record favored the Steelers. But looking at the regular season stats, Big Ben could get that 28th regular season home loss. We talked about how this was on the day leaving 107 days left in the year, the 28th prime. Seattle's 107-28, and you get a final score of 28-26. Cowboys, Redskins. Cowboys got it done. Cowboys are definitely a contender this year. Cowboys stayed on 43 regular season losses on the 43 date. They stayed at 27 regular season losses at the Redskins on the 27 date. The thing to consider was there was 107 days left, the 28th prime, so it made that 27-28 tough to see. It was the 117th regular season match. Redskins does equal 117. Oftentimes that is favorable for the team it syncs up with, but not this time for the Redskins. And we saw that if Dak won this weekend, next week he could get his 36th all-time win against Miami. Miami's 36, where the Super Bowl is this year. And let's see. Case Keenum, his stats could go either way. He was a teeter-totter. Jay Gruden had a chance at the 36th regular season win on the 36th date, or picking up his 46th loss to the team from Dallas, Texas. So Cowboys took this game 31-21. The head-to-head record in the date numerology mostly favored the Cowboys, and it did go that way. Cardinals and Ravens. Ravens look good, but like I said, would they cover the spread? You know, that was the thing, and they didn't. So, but it was all but certain that Lamar Jackson was going to improve to 8-1, because Cardinals is 81. He played for the Louisville Cardinals. Just made too much sense. I wonder if he might drop his next 2 games though to fall to 8-3. Tough game next week at Arrowhead, and then maybe loses to the Browns. Again, the Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. If he lost his next 2, he'd be 8-3 versus the Browns. Or 8-3 after losing to the Browns. Cleveland Browns 83. Let's see. Jaguars at Texans. My favorite stat here in this game was that Watson could become 3-1 versus the Jaguars. Houston's 31. That number just plays so much with Houston. Hard to go against. He did become 3-1. Razor tight game down to the 2-point conversion. O'Brien got his 43rd regular season as well. 43rd regular season win as well on the 43 date numerology. Jacksonville's 43. Chiefs at Raiders. This was my biggest disappointment of the day. I thought the Raiders had a great narrative here. Mahomes had a chance to become 7-4 away. Raiders 74, Oakland, California 74. Like we talked about, Ken Stabler was the MVP of the NFL playing for the Raiders in 74. I noticed in the game they put up a stat when the Raiders were up. I believe they were up 10-0 at that point. They put up a stat that Derek Carr had passed Ken Stabler for the all-time passing yards for the Raiders, becoming number 1 for the Raiders franchise. And then after that, he threw an interception, and then the next drive he threw an interception, and the Raiders offense didn't do anything the rest of the day. And I thought, how interesting. They put up the Ken Stabler stat, and then it's all over. Caller?
This gonna drive you crazy, Zach. So I should have called in last week, but I didn't. With Gruden, he had 100 regular season wins, right?
He was 193, right?
Yep. Well, next Sunday makes 100 days to the end of the year, so he stayed on 100.
Okay. Yeah, Andy Reid became. So that was something else I noticed in this game. The Chiefs took over the game when they got the ball back with 1:12 at the end of the first quarter. I said, 112, Chiefs 112, and then they went on to score 28 points in the second quarter and set a new record. So that was funny about this game. Two things happened. The Chiefs' record of scoring in the first quarter ended at 22 consecutive games. Oakland's 22, and then they put up 28 points in the second quarter on the big 28 date. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's 100 days remaining next week, so that's why I stayed on 100.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, man.
All right. See you. So anyway, the riddle for Mahomes to become 8-3 is, of course, football equals 83. But I was really liking the Raiders' numbers, and his next away opponent's the Detroit Lions, which equals 74 too. But Detroit, Michigan's also 83, so it's all here in the notes. But I was definitely leaning towards that 74, big upset, big statement from the Raiders. I also like that Carr could get to 3-8 versus the Chiefs. But he fell to 2-9, so it went the football route instead of the Raiders route. And Carr did stay on 33 regular season wins in week 2. Week 2's got that 33 thing. Had Gruden not lost, he would have stayed on 38 losses with Oakland, and he plays Minnesota next week. So I was thinking going into Minnesota on the 38 made some sense too. But he did stay on 43 wins on the 43 date numerology. So you get a final score of 28-10. That's what the score was at halftime. No scoring at all in the second half. And, just the NFL's such a joke. Raiders went right down the field to start the second half. They get right down to the 2-yard line, and then first plays an interception thrown right to the defender. It's, just so gimmicky, man. But, caller?
Hey, Zach. First time caller. Kind of new here, so I'm still kind of learning the ropes. But I was doing some decoding for next week's games, and I was just curious, do you ever take what network the game is on into account?
Yeah, that can be important.
Like CBS, NBC, Fox, like those channels, like do you think like that would actually, like that information would be relevant to the decode?
Sometimes it is. It's hit and miss. What we've learned over the years, especially with college basketball, if it's ESPN equals 18 and so does upset, a lot of big upsets in college basketball on primetime on ESPN. But sometimes teams do pick up the win and loss that syncs with the network. So, yeah, it's worth looking at.
Okay. All right, man, that's cool. I was just curious. Thanks, man.
All right, yeah, you're welcome. See you. Okay, let's see. Bears at Broncos. So here was a game that bunch of scoring in the last 30 seconds, the new NFL gimmick. It was 4th and 15. Broncos looking to put away the game, and then the Bears got a 25-yard gain, and I knew the Bears were going to win before the kick was even made, and this is where this knowledge with the real-time stats can pay big dividends. I'm sure some of you guys won big on this game at the end with the final scenario. a 53-yard field goal attempt that can possibly put up the 16th in winning points of the game. What do you think is going to happen there? 53, the 16th prime, numbers that come all together in football, or come together all the time in football. So as soon as I saw how they were at that hash mark, I was like, oh my God, 53-yard field goal to win the game. Here it comes. And then boom, sure enough, 53, the 16th prime. So that's why having this knowledge in real time can pay real big dividends. The Broncos did cover the spread here. Well, from the beginning of the week, it increased to 2.5 by game time. So, this game, let's see. Trubisky, he could have become 6-7 away. Denver is 67. And let's see. We saw that if Trubisky split his next 2 games, he'd be 7-7 in Washington, D.C. So we got to keep that in mind next week. If he loses next week away, he'll be 7-7. Number that hits a lot in D.C. 7-6 right now. We saw that if Trubisky won 4 straight, or if he won 3 of his next 4, he'd have a chance to be on 19 wins versus the Saints. So, Saints is 19. That's why that matters. Flacco had a chance at his 61st regular season win at home. That's the 18th prime. Bears is 18. Could have also got his 63rd all-time win on the 63 date. Instead, he picked up his 74th loss in Denver, Colorado. So, but again, that's where, if you're doing the real-time betting, just really pay attention. As soon as you saw that it was a 53-yard attempt, I would have been pounding the yes, he's going to make it button. Yes, that one is going in. 53, the 16th prime. So, all right. The Saints at the Rams. So what's interesting about this game is how Drew Brees got injured by Aaron Donald. Just using the alphabetical order, Drew Brees is 99, Aaron Donald's 99. He wears the number 99. You get a final score of 27-9. 27 in numerology is 2 plus 7 is 9, so essentially a 9-9 score. I was saying, why did they schedule this game 34 weeks after the playoff game? And you know what's interesting about 34? You remember the whole ritual with LeBron James's fake injury this year? It was all about the number 34. Injuries 34. So, I don't know what to make about that, you know. But big injury in the game 34 weeks after the rematch. Another blown call that hurt the Saints. So just more to add to that riddle. And this 243-54 is a very interesting thing. So far, every single person who's had there's definitely a relationship between 243 and 54, as we figured out. But so far this year, everyone who's had the 243 connection in the regular season is lost. So maybe this is something we can clue into for the rest of the season. For Flacco, the game was on his 243rd day of his age. For Drew Brees, the game was 243 days after his birthday. In week 1, the person with the 243 connection was the Bears owner. She lost week 1 to the Packers. So, the trick with Brees was he could get his 157th win, which is the 37th prime, in Los Angeles is 37, or he could get his 109th loss in Los Angeles was 109. So he got the 109th loss. And he became 1-5 versus the Rams. Rams is 15. So, let's see. Goff got his 12th home win over the Saints. Saints 37, the 12th prime as well. Okay. And then Eagles at Falcons. I thought Wentz would pick up... Well, first of all, I thought the Eagles would become 9-7 against the Falcons because 97 is the 25th prime. Falcons is 27. Philadelphia is 97. And I like that Wentz could get his 25th regular season win because that number shows up a lot with the Falcons. But it was not so. Let's see. Ryan stayed on 79 all-time losses. Philadelphia does have that 79 connection. And he did get his 107th win all-time on the day, leaving 107 days left in the year. That was a number that showed up all over the place yesterday. 107 and 28. Adrian Peterson passed Jim Brown, got his 107th touchdown. And look at Adrian Peterson's name. 159. Yesterday was 15/9. So sometimes the all-time stats do kick in. That's why I write them down. But I know more often than not, it's the regular season stats that trump the all-time stats. And Ryan, he had a chance at his 30th home loss. Eagles is 1-1-3 the 30th prime, but instead he became 3-0 at home versus the Eagles. And there was an Eagles fan who notified me yesterday. He said, "Man, we always lose in Atlanta." I said, "Well, go with your guns, man." I said, "You could be right." So 24-20 score. Georgia 44. Matt Ryan had 193 yards passing at the half, the 44th prime. But I thought those 25s were going to come through. So, and then tonight, Monday Night Football. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
Hey, man.
Hey, you know what's fucking funny about that Sunday night game?
What's that?
Wasn't it last week that you said the primetime game, Mike Tirico was the only guy to pick? I don't know. Who was the game?
He was the only guy to pick. He was the only guy to pick. Who did he pick? The Bears, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't the Bears. They lost, didn't they? Who the hell was the upset last week?
Oh,
That was a little bit of a surprise.
He was the only guy to pick the Packers. That's what it was. He was the only guy to pick the Packers on the opening night game.
And who'd they play last week, the Packers?
The Bears.
That's right. So he was the only one to pick it. He did the same fucking thing happened on Sunday night. Mike Tirico was the only one out of, I don't know, there's like 8 or 10 of them that picked Atlanta. And they're just like smiling and laughing. They did the same fucking thing, man.
Well, we'll have to remember that the season began 100 days from Mike Tirico's birthday.
The game. Well, last week was 100, so this week was 100. It was 108, you said?
Well, it might have been 100 days to his upcoming birthday, so it might actually be less now. But I just remember the opening game was 100 days from his birthday. So.
Yeah, it was 100 last week, and then this week the same scenario. He's the only one that picked Atlanta out of the whole crew.
Yeah, well, we're going to pay attention to that, so that could be a tell for the whole season.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, man. So, I was like, yeah, that right there, there's your clue.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The thing is, man, about that Breeze injury thing, I haven't looked into it too much, but I'm kind of wondering if it somehow could be connected with Peyton Manning. You know how you have that ongoing, the Colts and Archie Manning and all that, because in Peyton's 18th season, he was injured. I don't remember when it was. I was looking at it a little bit yesterday, but then he didn't come back until week 17. You know, everybody thought he was done, right? And then they brought him week 17 against San Diego, and they won his history. So I'm almost wondering if there's some connection there and some tie between Drew Brees and Manning in this injury, and this probably being maybe Drew Brees' last season too, right?
Very possible.
So I'm going to look more into that, and if somebody else wants to look into it, I think there could be a clue there. I did notice when they brought back, I think when they brought Manning, that wouldn't have been right. Somewhere where he came back from his injury, I know the number was 49, like Super Bowl, so when they came back, it linked up with the Super Bowl. I think it was that. Would that be right? Would that be about 49 days from week 17 to the Super Bowl? Maybe.
Is it 6 weeks or 7 weeks?
From week 17.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. That would be. I think it's 6. Okay. It's 147 days from the first Sunday to Super Bowl Sunday. So from the first Sunday to week 17 would be what? 16 weeks later. So that's 96 days. Oh, no, that's bad math. 16 times 7. 112 days. So I guess it's 5 weeks from week 7 to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so maybe it was from week 17 to the Super Bowl when they brought him back. Could that have been 49 days?
Well, I think that would be 35 days.
35? There was a 49 somewhere in there, man, and it lined up. I had to go back and look at it. So I think there may be something there was definitely lined up with the Super Bowl when they brought him back.
Okay, I'll go back and look at that. Yeah, it could be a riddle.
Yeah, I think there's something there, man. All right, Zach, that's all I have.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay. All right, so the Monday Night Football game. Again, go with your guns. I'm definitely not having my best week, that's for sure. But I'm sticking with my thought that Mayfield can improve to 7-8 in the regular season. Cleveland and New York are both 78, and so is Trevor Siemian, who's substituted in for Darnold. So Mayfield's got the right spacing, too, for the birthday for Monday Night Football. Okay, so that is the NFL today, the review and the upcoming game. And with that said, let's hop over to baseball. Get to today's games. Let's see. All right, so we got a half day. There's only half the, a little more than half the MLB teams playing. The date numerology for today is 64, 37. 37 is the 12th prime. And 28. The lesser date numerology is 44. And the day plus the month's 25. Today leaves 106 days left in the year. Because it's the 16th of the month, keep in mind the number 53. 53, the 16th prime. And I think one thing I forgot to do was plug these in here. Hold on, let me finish doing this real quick and we'll hit all these games. So Nationals at the Cardinals. The date numerology is that the Cardinals could stay on 28 home losses today. We'll look at that. And then the A's could pick up their 28th home loss today. That would be an upset with the Royals. Coming back to the head-to-head, I don't think the date numerology is going to be... the date numerology is there for the Royals, but I don't think so. I like that head-to-head better if the A's win. They'd be 4-1 versus the Royals. Oakland 41. Royals would be 1-4 versus the A's. KC 14. If you want to add to that list, Athletics 43, the 14th prime. But still good to look at all the date numerology just to consider. All right, Rockies could pick up the 37th home loss today. Let's see. But I don't know about that. Motts looks like he's right for a loss today. So date numerology might be off today, but still just good to acknowledge it. Let's see. Diamondbacks game. All right. Yeah, I think I'm in disagreement with the date numerology today. So, anyhow, Orioles at Tigers. Tigers are 3-3 versus the Orioles this year. Tigers are 1-2 versus the Orioles at home. This is hold on, let me check something real quick. How is that? Maybe the stats weren't updated when I looked at it. Hold on. I think when I did this, the stats must not have been updated yet. I got to verify this real quick. 1, 2, 3. All right, that is right. Never mind, it's right. So yeah, they are 3-3 versus each other. Tigers have lost more in this series at home. This is the fourth game of the series, and let me pull this up real quick too. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so in this series, Tigers are trailing 1-2. They have a chance to even it up today, or lose the series 1-3. So things to consider: Baltimore equals 41, the 13th prime. If the Tigers lost, they'd be 1-3 in the series. But Detroit Tigers is also 79, the 22nd prime. If they evened it up 2-2 today. And John Means, there's nothing real clear. I don't want to lead with his second half stat. If he did lose, he'd be 3-7 in the second half, and Detroit is 37. I'd rather see the riddle, though, with his season stats or his away record. Those are more reliable. Alexander, the Tigers pitcher, is 0-3 for the season. If he won, he would be 1-3, kind of like 13. Baltimore is 41, the 13th prime. So I think that game might be the throwaway game of the day. No real meaningful things to observe. Hold on, let me look at this one more time. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Comerica Park or something. One and 3. Okay. I guess I actually can do one more thing. Orioles got the Blue Jays back in Baltimore tomorrow. If they didn't win, they'd stay on those 49 wins to host the Blue Jays. Blue Jays is 49. Make a note about that real quick. If Orioles lost, they would stay on 49 wins. Blue Jays equal 49. Who they play next? Let's see the Tigers. The Tigers are on 44 wins. Detroit's 44. One, two. Tigers. The Indians next. Indians in Cleveland. Okay. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach? It's me, Joe Pig.
What's up, man?
Hey, I heard you a little while ago saying that you didn't understand why the Eli riddle didn't work out with the 117, and I think I know why. If you scroll ahead 2 games, the Giants are going to be playing the Redskins, and the Redskins are 117.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might lose the next game and then win the next one against the Redskins and get that 117. And then I remember, I know you were leading the Eagles, and obviously they didn't win. They lost that nail biter at the end. And I realized that the coach, Dan Quinn, he got his 37th regular season win, and Georgia is 37.
This is true.
And then if you look at Matty Ice or whatever, his record, he just got I think he got his 103rd win. So I think he's going to lose the next 2 games and finish up September to September's 103. And then I know you were telling me that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to go 3-4, which I agree with you. When I looked at all my notes from even before the season started, and he's at 102. So if he wins the next game, he'll have that 103, and then lose the next one, or vice versa, and then stay at 103, and then finish September with 103. So they'll both have 103 to finish September, and September's 103.
That could be. Broncos is 103, so he's got the perfect opponent next week to get 103 against.
Yeah, I already forgot what the next opponent after that is. I can't remember who the Packers are playing after that. It's a decent team. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I thought about that, and I was like, oh, that's why it didn't work out. And then I don't understand either, because I went with the Phillies too, like you said. That looked like a great riddle with the 77. So I went out now when I got my butt handed to me. I was like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that didn't happen, because I'm from Boston. So that's why I'm like, we see Boston all the time at 77. That should be
very
perfect.
interesting. There were some good riddles that did not come through. It happens sometimes. So.
Oh yeah, because I looked at all the things and all about leads and leans, and I was like, wow, this is like the worst week I've ever had ever. And I was like, holy cow! I was like, this is, and it's not like it was like very vague. It was like, the consistent numbers showed up. They were there ready to go, and I don't know, nobody would show up to win. The only good one that came out was the Lions. That came out, looked like a good upset, and they hit. That was the only one. Everything else was like, whew, it's very, very tight. Very, very tight.
Yeah, Seahawks was good too. Seahawks was good. So.
What was that? I missed that last
The Seahawks were another underdog that came through.
Yeah, that one was very tight too. Now, what is it? Ben Roethlisberger's out for the year, so he's gonna have elbow surgery, and then Drew Brees is gonna be out 6 weeks. He's gonna have his thumb surgery, I think, today. They said they're gonna either put him. He's gonna miss a minimum of 6 weeks. If they put him on the IR, he's gonna miss 8 weeks. So I don't know how our numbers gonna go with that. With his regular season wins totaled up and stuff. You know what I mean? So that's gonna throw everything off, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that. Maybe it'll be the Chiefs and Packers, like we were leaning and stuff. Like I'm on the Packers all the way. I don't know who the opponent is gonna be. I'm still Chiefs, Chargers, and now the Patriots are starting to look really good, so it's getting scary with that part because I didn't think of that. I just thought they wouldn't do really good and get knocked out somewhere in between, so we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to add that, okay?
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. I'm only going to take a minute here to go through the baseball games because everything's done. I'm just going to look at a few extra things along the way, and then I'll open it back up for calls after we're done with the games. But the Orioles and Tigers game, not a lot of helpful clues here. If the Orioles did lose, though, they would stay on 49 wins to go into the Blue Jays series next, and Blue Jays is 49, so... Okay. The Padres at the Brewers. Garrett Richards is making his first start of the season. Veteran pitcher who's showing up late, which is interesting. The Brewers are 0-3 versus the Padres this year. If they won, they'd be 1-3. And hold on, I see I have something I missed here. Hold on. The Brewers are 41-36 at the Padres all time. You do have the 37 date numerology today, so they could pick up that 37th loss. Milwaukee's 37. The Brewers are 0-3 versus the Padres this year. First game in Milwaukee. If they did win today, they'd be 1-3. Again, they got the M on the cap, the 13th letter. Let's see. Davies on the mound today. He could get his 43rd career win. San Diego's 43. His next loss, however, is 33. San Diego Padres is 137, the 33rd prime. If he... Hold on, I screwed up there or something with that. His stats. Let me go back and fix this. 1 second. I need his home stats. Unless I wrote it down wrong. He's 21-20. He's a better road pitcher than home pitcher. That's interesting. He's 21-21 at home. So 22 could land either way. Davies is 3-0 versus the Padres for his career in 5 starts. And he's 3-0 at the Padres, which means he's winless against the Padres at home, but he hasn't lost either. Okay, let's see. Davies faces the Pirates next. Make sure Pirates don't have a connection. Let's see. Okay, so Milwaukee's a considerable favorite. What they have going against them is the date numerology. But the head-to-head record is favorable to them. So, hold on. There's some better games down here. The White Sox at the Twins. Minnesota's 4-2 at home versus the White Sox. That means with a win, they'd be 5-2. Minnesota 52, number that shows up a lot for Minnesota. 52. Lopez is 0-3 pitching at the Twins. That's the White Sox pitcher. He faces the Tigers next after this game. Berrios, he's 12-8 for the season. He's 41-34 for his career, so he could get his 42nd career win over the White Sox. White Sox is 42. And Berrios is 10-2 versus the White Sox through 13 starts. So he's done well against them for his career. Home record makes a lot of sense with the Twins win. And Berrios getting the 42nd career over the White Sox makes sense too. The only thing really going against the Twins is just that Lopez could improve to 1-3 at the Twins. TC, what they wear on the cap, is 13, but that 52 is pretty consistent with Minnesota. And the 42nd career win makes a lot of sense as well. Twins are playing for the playoffs. If the Twins won 2, they'd get to 93 wins. White Sox is 93. If the White Sox lost 2, they'd get to 47 away losses. Minnesota's 47. There's a few other scenarios to consider, but that's the likely outcome. The Nationals and the Cardinals. The Cardinals could stay on 28 home losses. Today's got the 28 date numerology. That reminds me that Washington Nationals equals 107, the 28th prime. Let's see. The Cardinals are 3-1 versus the Nationals this year. If the Cardinals swept the Nationals, they could get to 6-1. That would be a statement. We know St. Louis Cardinals is 61. Is a 3-game series. So that is one possibility. If the Nationals won the next 2 games, they could even it up at 3-3. Nationals is 33. St. Louis is also 43 if the series ended up being 4-3 between the teams for the year. Nationals would have to win 2 out of 3. And notice these teams are playing for playoff position, neck and neck right now. St. Louis is the city with the 115 connection. So I noticed this is the Nationals' 149th game today, which is the 35th prime. They could stay on 35 away losses in their 149th game. And Strasburg, he's 17-6 for the season. If he lost, he'd be 17-7, prime numbers. Another thought, though, is St. Louis Cardinals equals 61, which is the 18th prime. Could get his 18th win and a big, meaningful one. Strasburg's 3-2 versus the Cardinals today. Nationals does equal 33, but if you use the rule with S, it is 42. Strasburg's 1-1 at the Cardinals in 2 starts with a 3.29 ERA, so not bad. Hudson, he's 15-7 for the season. He's pitching on the 16th of the month. If he won his next 2 starts, he could get to 17-7, prime number relationship. His career record's a prime number relationship right now. He's 19-8 for the career. And let's see. Hudson's 1-1 versus the Nationals. Only 1 career start, but 5 games. And 3.24 ERA. Hudson's going to face the Cubs next. So I think his stats sync with the Cubs. All right. The Reds at the Cubs game, the Cubs are 7-9. Hold on. I think I wrote down Cardinals instead of Reds. Let me double check something real quick. Let's see. double check. Did I mess this up? Yeah, okay. I just mistyped here. Cubs are 7-9 versus Reds. Let's see. And 3-3 at home. Okay. So I got the right stats. All right, so I was just thinking if the Cubs are 7-9, very likely they get to 9-9. Number shows up a lot with the Cubs. Wrigley's 99, Illinois 99, Cubs is 9. So they have to win the next two to get to 9-9. If the Reds lost the next two games, they would be 3-5 at Chicago. Chicago's 35 as well. So that is very possible. And that would even the series up at 9-9. And Gossman, today he could get his 63rd career loss. Cubs is 63, so perfect team for the 63rd career loss. And Hamels could stay on 51 losses in the second half, Cincinnati 51. He could also get his 12th win versus the Reds in Chicago, Chicago 37, the 12th prime. So that looks pretty good. I think the Cubs take it today and tomorrow to even that up at 9-9. And, just to be thorough, we can also look at who's pitching tomorrow, see if it does make that much extra sense. Sonny Gray is 10-7. Darvish is 6-7. Let's see their stats real quick. Sonny Gray, 69, 59. Could fall to 10-8 with Cincinnati against the team that broke the curse in 108 years. Tallest building in Chicago, 108. Again, got to go back to that article that was written around the time of the World Series showing all the 108s in Chicago. Let's see. Darvish. Darvish could stay on 51 losses against Cincinnati. Cincinnati 51. Okay. The only thing I'd say for Gray is that he could improve to 11-7 because Illinois won 17, but I still like that head-to-head record at 9-9 better. So anyway, Cubbies look good today to me. And the Mets and the Rockies. The Rockies could pick up their 37th home loss on the 37 date numerology. The Rockies' next loss at home to the Mets is 39. Keep in mind, in 2 days, it'll be 39 date numerology. So that could be the day they pick that up. Hold on. Yeah, 3-game series. Game 3 will be on a 39 date. So I'll just make that note here. Game 3 is on 39 date numerology. So this is the Rockies' 151st game, the 36th prime. They could stay on 36 home losses in this game. And looking at Motts looks like he's primed for a loss. If he lost, he'd be 10-9 for the season. Rockies is 109. And he'd get his 35th career loss. Rockies is 35. So Motts could stay on 16 away wins on the 16th of the month. Senzatella could improve to 10-10. 10 equals 39 like New York. So the date numerology is the one thing going against the Rockies. But I don't know. Looking at Motts, I mean, he just looks so perfect for a loss here against the Rockies. And the prime number relationship says Rockies can stay on the 36 home losses too. So I guess something to consider is one thing to consider. If Rockies lost 3 in a row, they would become 39-39 at home on 39 date numerology. So that is one other thing to consider. If they lost, it would follow the date numerology each day. But looking at Steven Motts, it's just like, man, his record just seems like it was made for a loss in this matchup. So Okay. The Marlins at the Diamondbacks. Lopez, last time he was on the mound, his team lost, but he didn't get the decision. Again, his next decision shouldn't give him a loss. He would be 5-9. Miami Marlins is 59 in the most pure cipher. It is also 68 if you use the rule with S, but that 59 definitely shows up more. D-backs' next loss to the Marlins will be the 68th all-time. I actually see something interesting in that. They're 86 and 67 versus the Marlins. That's an interesting record because Marlins is 86 and Miami Marlins does have the 68 connection. The Diamondbacks are 1-3 versus the Marlins this year, meaning the Marlins are 3-1 versus the D-backs. If the Diamondbacks won today, the Marlins would be 3-2. Marlins is 32. It's the first game in Arizona between these teams this year. It is the Diamondbacks' 151st game, which is the 36th prime. They could get the 36th home loss in their 151st game. Robbie Ray, he's 12-8 for the season. His next win is 13. M, the 13th letter. Marlins with the M on the cap. Ray plays at the Padres next. If he won today, he'd have a chance to get his 14th win over San Diego. San Diego equals 43, 14th prime. So he'd have to win today to have a chance at 14 in that one. And then the Royals at Athletics game. The A's do have the date numerology going against them, but I suspect the head-to-head record's where it's at. KC and 14 is very consistent. The A's can become 4-1 versus the Royals. Oakland's 41. Royals can become 1-4 versus KC. Or Royals can become 1-4 versus Oakland. KC's 14. Athletics is also 43, the 14th prime. Sparkman can get his 12th loss of the season on the 37 date, 37 the 12th prime. And Rourke for the Athletics, he could get his 36th win at home. Royals is 36. He could also improve to 11-8 for the season. We've seen a lot of 1-1-8 with the Bay Area. And he could also get his 41st win in the second half. Oakland 41. Kansas City does have the 41 connection. And so anyway, I think that riddle is there. So limited amount of games today. I would be selective. Again, that one riddle seems very clear. There's one riddle that's definitely clearer than the others. So Orioles and Tigers is tight, but I would lean towards the Tigers, mostly because the Orioles can go into the next game on those 49 wins to face the Blue Jays. Blue Jays is 49. But limited things to dig into on that game. Padres at Brewers one more time. Brewers do have the date numerology going against them. They could pick up the 37th loss all-time at home versus the Padres on the 37 date. That said, if the Brewers win, they'd be 1-3 versus the Padres this year. They do wear the M on the cap. We've seen plenty of 13 riddles with the Brewers. Davies, you can make an argument for or against. And Davies is undefeated against the Padres so far. So good history there. The White Sox and Twins game, Minnesota can become 5-2 at home. 5-2 at home, Minnesota 52. Consistent pattern. Berrios can get his 42nd career win. White Sox 42. The only riddle I see possibly for the White Sox today is Lopez. If he won, he'd be 1-3 at the Twins for his career. Because TC, Twin Cities 13. But that 52 shows up so much with Minnesota. Got to assume that's the way it's going. Then Nationals at Cardinals. Cardinals could stay on 28 home losses today with the W. But Nationals, again, it's their 149th game, the 35th prime. They could potentially stay on 35 away losses. I like these prime number relationships a lot better when it's picking up the number in the win or loss than staying on it. So I might sit this game out and watch what happens today because say the Nationals won today, I'd probably like the Nationals again tomorrow to even this up at 3-3. But if the Cardinals win today, it could be a chance for them to go 6-1 with a sweep. What's up, caller?
It's over, Zach. Minnesota gonna win. I'm gonna put that with the Browns money line. 106 days left, Zach. Remember? Prophecy.
Yeah. So.
Prince from Minnesota. You know who I am.
Yeah, they made his house a museum on October 6th. So.
Come on, man. Today's 106 days remaining. Minnesota go 5-2. I'm playing the run line too. I might do -1.5, honestly.
Okay, but yeah, I think it's there for Minnesota. So.
Yeah, like you said, ain't no use to even trying to, like you said about that one game. Don't talk yourself out of that, big dog. It's over.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I like that game. I think that's the second best game today. So.
Yep, and if everybody play that money line with the Browns, you know, whatever you play, $20 get you $20, $100 get you $100, whatever. So, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I just want to make that point, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
What he's saying is the word prophecy equals 52 and 106. Those numbers were big in the Prince riddles. So anyway, Minnesota can become 5-2 today at home. And Nationals and Cardinals, I'd probably wait and see on this game today. I'd probably wait and see. Just because today's game should set up one of two narratives here. Let's look at who pitches tomorrow, actually. See if we can get ahead of ourselves on where this narrative might be going. Corbin is 12-7. Mikolas is 9-13. Let me see. Corbin 68-61. He could stay on 61 losses. St. Louis Cardinals 61. Let's see his away stats. 31-32 away. One and 2 versus the Cardinals. Corbin and who? Mikolas. Mikolas is 31-23. 29-18 with the National League. (15-13) at home. It's tricky. Yeah, it's just this game is tough to call today. Tomorrow might be a little bit tricky too, but Cardinals could make a real statement if they swept the Nationals to get to 6-1. Okay, the Reds and the Cubs. Again, if the Cubs win today and tomorrow, they'll get to 9-9 versus the Reds. Wrigley 99, Illinois 99, Cubs 9. If the Reds lose the next two, they're going to be 3-5 versus the Cubs in Chicago. Chicago 35. And if Gausman loses today, he'll get his 63rd career loss. Cubs is 63. So I think that is there. Let me get back to today's games.
It's live feed.
Huh?
It's live feed.
Yeah, it's live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, Mets at Rockies. So again, the date numerology goes against the Rockies. They could get the 37th home loss. But again, it's the Rockies' 151st game, which is the 36th prime. They could stay on those 36 home losses. two scenarios to consider. Either the Rockies don't pick up a loss until Game 3 and pick up the 39th loss versus the Mets at home on the 39 date numerology, or they follow the date numerology and lose all 3 games to become 39 and 39 at home against New York on the 39 date numerology. I would say that if the Rockies lose today, it's probably going to go that path because Motts, the pitcher on the mound for the Mets, he looks like he should lose today. If he loses, he's 10-9. Again, Rockies is 109, and he'd get his 35th career loss. Rockies 35. So typically, when things line up like that for a pitcher, it does go that way. It's just the 239 scenarios are interesting. If Rockies win today, I imagine they win tomorrow and lose Game 3. If Rockies lose today, they are probably about to lose 3 straight. Mets are playing for a playoff position. Rockies are eliminated. So Rockies can play spoiler. All right, Marlins at D-backs one more time. The D-backs could stay on 37 home wins. The date numerology could go against them that way. If they did lose, they become 86 and 68 versus the Marlins. Marlins is 86. Miami Marlins is 68. The other thing through the head-to-head is if the Diamondbacks won today, the Marlins would be 3-2 versus the Diamondbacks. 3-2, Marlins 32. And in the Diamondbacks' 151st game, they can pick up their 36th home loss. 151, the 36th prime. So the Diamondbacks have the date numerology going against them, the prime number relationship going against them. Through the head-to-head record, you can make an argument either way. It's just this Pablo Lopez can fall to 5-9, and that number shows up all the time with the Marlins. And Ray can also get his 13th win against the team with the M on the cap, the 13th letter. So I'd be careful with that one. Might use the information for real-time betting. And then again, A's, they do have the date numerology going against them, but I'm going to fade that. 14 shows up all the time with the Royals. So A's win today. They're 4-1 versus the Royals. Royals are 1-4 like 14 against Oakland. And today's a good day for Sparkman to get his 12th loss. Also, Royals are the perfect opponent for Rourke to get his 36th career home win. So I'd use the strong games and maybe some of these riskier ones, build some small parlays around it. But, you know, there's a few good games on the board that should be good for straight bets, and then your small parlays you can pick and choose for some of these other tighter calls, or you can just stick with the safer games. So I'm going to open the phone line up for some last calls. We'll keep it short today because we're going to be on a lot this week. We'll be doing baseball in the morning and football in the afternoon for the rest of the week. So if anybody wants to call in, it's 509-731-0567. Otherwise, we can wrap it up and keep it short today. So check the chat here real quick. Where is the chat? What did I do with the chat? It's weird. That is weird that the chat isn't up. Let's see. Hopefully I didn't kill the live stream talking to nobody. That would be funny. How do I get to the live stream? All right, let's see. All right, it's going. How do I get to this thing? All right, there we go. Okay. Looks like you guys are still talking about NFL, so if nobody wants to call in, we can leave it there. Leave it short for today. I will post all the updated notes. So I think you know what the strong baseball plays are. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time. And then we'll be back in the afternoon with our first NFL Week 3 Decode. But before I can say goodbye, I have to figure out how to end the thing. I think it's here. All right. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Good luck, you guys. Be back tomorrow. Thanks as always for supporting.